So we're here today at Angus Acres in Kinsella, Alberta with the Armitages, who've been in the business since 1962. Is that correct, Bill? And,
Yes.
So, and they bought their first cows in 1957, and we're really pleased to be here, Carla and myself, to introduce you to them right at the ranch here today and get them to tell us a little bit about the history of their operation. So I'll let you start off, Jordis and Bill, and tell us a little bit about yourselves and who's involved in the operation, and we'll go back a little bit in history. So,
Well, like you said, we got started and bought our first cattle in '57, and then we didn't really get into register or raising them until '62 when Jordis and I got married, built a new house, and started into the purebred Angus, and we didn't know exactly what we were going to call our herd, but we were debating whether to call it Angus Acres or Green Acres, and we decided on Angus Acres, and I don't know, maybe Green Acres might have been better.
right on. From the show on TV.
Yeah.
Right. So now, who's involved with you on the ranch as far as day-to-day operations?
Well, I am right now. I am retired for about 4 years, and Dwight and Joanne Mackay have taken over. They have taken over the farm, and they worked with me since '89 and have built up a herd here of their own. And so they're got their own herd, and I dispersed mine, must be 4 or 5 years ago. I have no cattle at all right now.
And Bill, I know from knowing your herd a little bit, I know you've always stuck with pretty much straight Canadian pedigrees, so to speak, or genetics. Is that pretty much the same today, or?
Well, I didn't know what to do, and I decided, seeing I wasn't in the show business or anything, and I kind of liked, so I thought I'd just stick with the Canadian cattle, and I knew the pedigrees, and they were enough to keep, a track of. So I stayed with the Canadian and bred them up, but seeing I didn't go into any show business, I just went to the odd consignment sales, and Jordis and I were alone here on the farm until about 1990, I guess, and then Dwight come and helped us. And of course, Jordis taught school and was a counselor for a number of years, so we were pretty busy.
Right.
So we didn't have time for doing much show business or anything.
So with the genetics that you've used over the years, it must be quite attractive to buyers to keep if they're looking to use straight Canadian.
Well, it has. It's been very good, actually, and I give a lot of credit to Lloyd Pickard and the cross country sale that got my cattle out, and Jim Baldridge and Al Conover, the guys that run them sale, man, they got some of my cattle into the States and different places.
Sure.
Done well with them.
Very well. And Jordis, you must have some stories to tell us a little bit about, through the years, all these folks stopping in to buy cattle. You mentioned the Japanese before we started, and Bob Prestige coming along with a group to feed him a big dinner. You must have a couple stories on that.
Well, it was always very interesting. Like, once Bob realized that my main job for Angus Acres was to cook, he made a point of stopping for lunches or dinners, and we always enjoyed the crew that he brought with them. I just remember at one, I think it was a morning lunch, and he had a group of Japanese here, and they didn't speak much English. And I had put out a spread of, the Viking bolognas and the buns and pickled carrots, which is just, pickled carrots are just a common thing for us. Anyways, they're passing this around, and this one Japanese was sampling, and all of a sudden he's talking to the fellow next to him, so he tried them, and they ate the whole quart. And they wanted the recipe. They'd never had pickled carrots in their life before. So that was kind of cute. But
sure.
no, we enjoyed them, and then like Bill said earlier, we had some Norwegian tourists here. They used to come in from Norway and book into Vermilion, and they were looking for things for these people to do. So we knew the mayor of Vermilion at that point. She was a good friend of ours, and she called and said, would you mind having a bus tour out there? So how many? Well, it wound out to be a number of tours over several years, and we fed anywhere from 15 to 70 Norwegians.
Really?
The first year or two, I think I cooked. The first time, I think I cooked for the Norwegians, thinking they would be homesick for their own food, and they said, no. We want Canadian food. So after that, it was roast beef and all the trimmings, and they just loved it. So they'd come out for an afternoon, and they'd stay for supper and tour the area, see the big machinery in the area.
Sure.
So that was fun, lots of fun.
Do you remember how many countries you've sold cattle into then, as far as, I know Japan, you said?
Oh, I don't know. I had a list of, there was Australia, Argentina, not Australia, Argentina, what's the other one down there?
Brazil?
Brazil?
No, Argentina, New Zealand, Mexico, China, Japan, Russia,
Lots.
yeah.
So when,
And the U.S. all
Sure.
over, the U.S.
and Canada, of course.
Yeah.
So when you were selling heifers, bred heifers, I suspect they were anyway, to say Japan, they must have took a lot of, like a few numbers out of here then.
The most they took at one time was over 30 head,
30.
between 30 and 40 head.
Okay.
That was the biggest shipment I had,
Right.
just out of here, yeah.
Sure.
And I sold quite a few heifers into guys who were interested in Canadian cattle, and then the embargo come on the States, but before that I was sending into Idaho. A guy was taking a
Oh yeah.
30, 40, 50 head of heifers. Yeah.
So then I see, you have reds, of course, also. When did
Yeah.
you get started in the reds?
87. The reason I started in the reds is because everybody around here at Simmental and Charlet,
Sure.
and the blacks didn't work with them. They got the rat tails, I call it.
So right now then, would you have about half and half, red and black? Or in your
Well,
inventory?
no, we always kept about 2/3, at least 2/3 blacks and a third red.
Okay.
Yeah, we kept most. And now I think Dwight's more to black than red too, because blacks are not a dirty word anymore. They're like they were in the 70s.
So do you do quite a bit of, with your herd now, do you do all the EPDs and all that good stuff?
In 1965, I think it was, or 4 or 5, I think it was 5, Chuck Hudipole come out from Edmonton. That was the start of the ROP. And he come and sat at the table where you were there, and he calculated out the 205 day and the weights for all our cattle in the fall. And he did that for a number of years until they got enough people involved in it. Then they set up a deal in Edmonton, a computer, and then you sent them in like after that.
And you still do that?
Oh, I did that right to the end.
Yeah.
Then it was ROP and EPDs in.
Yeah, sure.
I followed it right through from 65 right through, yeah.
Okay. So in this area then, pretty good market for Angus bulls?
It was really good, but I think what's happening now is there's a lot of people, the older people have gone out of cattle and been bought up or rented their land. And also what's happened in the last number of years is cattle prices and grain prices are high at the same time. And these younger generation, if they got to choose between cattle and grain, 90% of them I think are taking grain, the way it looks to me. So the cattle numbers are down as far as herds.
In this area?
Yes.
Sure. Well, that's interesting.